Howdy neighbor, how is your garden growing? Today in my garden, well, we're gonna be doing some harvesting because we have a lot of stuff to get. Everything from tomatoes to peppers, green onions, carrots, beets, kale, probably other stuff that I'm not remembering right now. So join me today as we go around in my Florida garden and do a spring harvest. So let me first take you around and let's go check out what's ready to be harvested. So let's go first and look at one of the biggest producers this year, and that's gonna be my tomatoes. So we're gonna start first with these tomatoes up front. I'm gonna tell you they're looking really sad, but it's not because they haven't done well this year. They've actually done really well, like 130 something pounds sort of well, but we still have some tomatoes on them as they're starting to head out. So let's check these out. So here are my sad tomato plants, but they have been producing so much and they're still going. So the ones that have produced hands down the best are the ones that have faded out the fastest at this time of year, and that's gonna be my 4th of July hybrids. They produced, gosh, I don't even know how many pounds, but at least 50, 60, 70. And there's like a couple left on here. You can tell as they're getting kind of ready to be done, they're a lot smaller. They almost look like grape tomatoes now, but most of the season they were about, you know, good 4-6 ounce tomato, about that big. This is just kind of what's left. Of course, our classic Everglades tomatoes are doing crazy good. They're actually, what is green on this trellis is mostly just the Everglades tomato. And everything else looks like it just kind of, it's done. It's done on this side. But on this side, still have some, I don't remember if this is the chocolate Cherokee or the purple Cherokee. It's a Cherokee tomato. And they're still producing, oh, there you go. I think this is the chocolate Cherokee. Yeah, these are chocolate Cherokees. They're also getting smaller as everyone's getting a little bit stressed out from the sun, the heat, the humidity. But we got a little bit more we can still get off of this plant. Oh, even a new one still. Gosh, we need rain so bad. And there's a little bit more. And then this is the other one. This is not a Cherokee. This was the early treats. And you can still see there's a little bit left on here. But otherwise, most of this is gonna be heading out. It needs to be cleaned up for summer. And that's one of the things I'm trying to take inventory of, is like, what do we need to go and clean up? Because for us, we're not going to be doing much on these trellises because it's only a couple months and we're going to be getting ready to put tomatoes back on them. So we're going to let this area mostly rest. I might throw some beans in to refresh it, but in general, we're just going to harvest, clean up, be done. This trellis is getting a little bit away from us. So you can see it's a little bit of a mess, and that is our Everglades tomatoes. They're kind of shrubbing out here. We'll have to cut this back today. You can see there's lots of happy red tomatoes on here. I have not been as great at picking these because there's so many. There's so many, but Ben and I are prepared today to go and do like a really good cleanup / harvest of these guys. And then if you see a lot of the dead stuff, that's gonna be like, it was a grape or cherry tomato that have reseeded from the previous year. All the time when I have like split tomatoes or tomato that like wildlife gets to, I'll just literally throw it back down on the ground right where I know I'm gonna put tomatoes the next year. And it means I'm not always 100% of the variety. Like, was it Sweet 100? Was it a grape tomato? Because I grew both last year. And so, yeah. And already we have tomatoes popping up that we can use for next year right here. Like literally, I'm guessing these are all Everglades tomatoes. The birds, you can see the remnants. They've been pooping. They enjoy the Everglades tomatoes, and there's a lot of them, but you can see plant. I might just move these, not even worry about it. So many Everglades tomatoes to harvest today. But that's not all we need to harvest. There's a few other things. We've had so many bananas drop, and one of the bananas that dropped actually dropped on our neighbor's side of the fence. It's our banana plant, but it just went up and over. I told them they could have it, but they were like, yeah, we'll just shove it over, you can have it. So it got kind of damaged, and you'll see that in a second, but I think it's pretty ready to go. So back here is where we have our one plant of bananas, and here is the one that got kind of chewed up by being over the fence line. But you can see it's ready to go because this stalk is dying out. So you can't always tell by just it being green. A lot of people are looking for it to be yellow, but I can tell by the fact that the ridges are smoothed out that this could be pulled. So we're gonna pull this. It's not really a banana that's happy anyways being right there, and it's fine. Probably get like 10 pounds bananas. Just for some comparison, this is a banana that, let's see, this dropped probably about 1 or 2 months ago. So you can see they're like more spindly, the ridges are more pronounced. This one's got a ways to go. We got a few more months on this one. Same with this bunch. You can see this is a lot younger. This one's even younger. It's like I'm going back in time. This is even younger. And this is my youngest bunch of bananas right now. So we probably got like 3-4 months before this guy's even ready. But that's the nice thing is that you can have, when you have like just, this is what, 3 banana plants. I got bananas and bananas and bananas and bananas. Hi, sunflower. Okay, over here, you can see, look at our green onions. Don't these look gorgeous? They're so big and pretty. So we're gonna give them a nice little trim up. They're not onions. They're probably made from leeks, would be my guess based on that. But we'll just get these cleaned up because we can use them for green onion soup. So we're not gonna pull any of them. We're just gonna trim them off. And then I'll take them inside and then I will pre-chop them so that when we make green onion soup, I just freeze the pre-chops. It makes making green onion soup faster. Of course, we got lots of sweet potato greens. We just need to clean them up. These ones, I don't know. It looks like there's some tubers in here, but I am not. Oh, yep, there's a tuber. I am not ready to harvest these guys. We'll just clean them up, let them go into the summer. Oh my goodness, the carrots. I think someone's been sleeping in here. Honestly, they're really squished down. But I can see some carrots that definitely want to be pulled. So we will get some of those guys out. And we've been getting lots of black swallowtails. So this is one of the things that if you have the space, planting with abundance for wildlife so that, you know, they can enjoy it too. We definitely try to support wildlife as much as possible here in our garden. Now in the back garden, you might have thought there wasn't much variety up front, and there isn't. More of the varieties in the back, honestly, because this is the garden we tend to more. So let me show you what's going on here. So you can see our tomatoes out back because they get a little bit more shade at this time of year. They have not gotten as stressed as the others. So we still have these 4th of Julys. They're producing a little bit still. This one's been great. It's a black cherry tomato, very sweet and tart. And they're producing and producing, and they finally climbed up tall enough to get to the rest of the trellis. I was a little worried there for a while that they were just gonna hang out down low, but now everyone's kind of shooting up. And here we are in the middle of the day and they're already getting shade from yonder pine. So they're happy because it's intense right now. And the big thing we need to harvest today is, oh my goodness, peppers, peppers, peppers everywhere. We got so many. Oh, I can smell the onions. I probably should be grabbing these onions. I was late in getting these in the ground this year, which is okay. Oh my goodness. This is what I say, we have beets and beets and beets and peppers and more peppers. And of course, kale. The kale is starting to look a little bit stressed, probably because the sun's so intense in this area. Let's see, this bed is mostly done for the summer. We're just gonna end up putting a cover crop in. Not now, not today, but soon. And yes, everyone's not happy from the middle day stress. You can see this pepper is a little far gone. This is a banana. This one's also banana, but I think we got our cubanelles right here. They're turning orange, probably a little bit further than I would have, but it's been so hot. I feel like the plants would agree with me that it's just so hot. It's so hot right now. You do not want to be out in the middle of the day doing this, which is why I'm doing it in a black shirt. Really smart. So we have those. You saw some of the kale. We have some little onions this year. I'm gonna do better at onions next year, later this year. But I've got a good start. I got a good layout and structure built for this year. So I'm feeling really good for when we hit fall. So you kind of get an idea. So there's some kale, beets, onions, peppers back here. I could grab some basil. And you get some of this old broccoli out. It's gone to seed and it's dried, so we're good there. And I think that's the majority of what we need to grab. But there's gonna be like a lot of each of them. And here's the crazy thing. We're getting like so much harvest right now, but I feel like I could have done a lot of things better than I did this last year, or this last vegetable season, which is kind of crazy to think like, oh, I have all these like opportunity areas to get better and then have even more harvest. I don't know if I need all that, but we'll see. I haven't made a game plan for fall yet. Just know there were opportunities all over the place, which would have meant I would end up with like more tomatoes. We already got, I was just looking this morning, 130-ish pounds of tomatoes so far this year, which is crazy. And I was late putting those in and they were stressed. But let's not worry about the past. Let's not worry about the future. Right now, we just need to get going on our harvest. And let's first get going on some of these tomatoes. We need a bigger bowl. Now you might notice that I'm using these pruners to collect my Everglades tomatoes, and that's just so we don't rip the skins and they last a little bit longer for us, so we don't have to rush to eat all of this right away. So pruners is really good for these. You don't necessarily need them for bigger tomatoes, but these little rinky dinkies, if you don't want to eat them immediately, prune. What's great about these green onions is we can cut and come again quite a few times with them. And all of these green onions, they were just all grown from kitchen scraps. If you want to get them started rooting, you can put them in a cup of water in your kitchen first. And I'm doing a test this year with my sunshine mimosa here to see if they can survive longer, because this is keeping the soil a lot cooler. You can see what I have here is an intermixing of some summer crops like roselle, and there's some Cuban oregano in the back there. So we're just transitioning this bed. Well, we've been transitioning this bed, keeping it ready for summertime. And you can see at one point the green onions started to go to seed, and the seeds can fall right back in here. So I'm gonna keep this as like a green onion, roselle, maybe cranberry hibiscus okra bed. That's a nice harvest. Has a little bit of a different mix for summer because this has got sweet potato in it. And I like to try different combinations to see what works better. Oh, spider. You know. And these plants, honestly, were planted at very similar timing. You can see they're a lot happier in this bed than they were in the other bed. And I get to ask myself questions like, why is that? What was different? What was similar between these two beds? Because it was the same bunches, but just planted. And these ones actually got disturbed because we had to pull apart the old metal bed that had rotted, and all of them got flung about. But I like having something with these because where I live, we lose so much organic matter when it starts raining. Though it's a drought year, so I don't know when we're getting rain. But when it does rain, we lose a lot of organic matter and we drop a lot because there's just no, it's just so intense, the rain, when we get it. I'm just cutting, these are sweet potato vines. I'm just cutting them and laying them back down in here. They might root, they might not, they might just die back, which is all okay. But I just want something in here to help shade because the sun right now is super intense. Yeah. What do you think? That's a pretty good size, huh? Is this a nice amount? I feel like this is a nice amount for to eat this week. That's a lot to eat this week. Like those carrots?
Wow, yeah.
Okay. Let's grab all these peppers. Well, not all of them, but a lot. We've been taking these. Well, I've already pickled a bunch of banana peppers. Cubanelles. But we're also making a thing called pepper bean salad. So that uses up a lot of fresh peppers with a nice like vinaigrette on it. And we're gonna be eating that for lunch like basically every day until the pepper harvest really slows down. Because honestly, I've already pickled so many peppers that I don't know that we can even use all of them in a year. And that's okay. We start to give them to family and friends. Yeah, we got to eat and eat and eat peppers right now. And that was kind of like the last 2 months. We were eating and eating tomatoes in every way, from caprices bruschetta to canning tomato sauce. Just doing it all the different ways. It's one of the things I need to keep getting better at, is just having a game plan. I got a little overwhelmed with all the tomatoes we had at one point, and I wasn't really sure what to do. But once I started kind of laying out a game plan each week, which was like, okay, I need to grab 20 pounds of tomatoes because I'm going to do a tomato sauce this weekend and it needs 20 pounds. Then it became less overwhelming, because then when 30 pounds came in, for 25 pounds, I would just sit there and be like, okay, 5 pounds we can eat fresh. That's not too bad. But like trying to figure out suddenly 20 pounds is a bit much. It can get overwhelming. And so I started to get a good game plan for tomatoes, but now I need to get a good game plan for peppers, because we're doing too good. I think that's the problem. We're doing too good. Better than I've ever done. And it's just too much. It's not too much. I just don't have a good plan. So it becomes too much at times. Now you may be wondering, why are you picking certain peppers and not other peppers? So like a pepper like this is just compost because it's already gone bad. But when you're looking at me doing like different sizes, you might be thinking, well, I get why she picks the big ones. Or so here's my criteria right now, is the big ones get picked. The ones that are changing color, so they're going to like reds, oranges, right, because they're getting ready to head out, or they're touching the ground. So they might be smaller, but the fact that they're touching the ground is also causing me to pick them. Even if they're not quite as big as I would like, I'll still pick them, you know? Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi. You want to smell those? Smell them. Here's my buddy Shiloh. She likes to come out here and harvest with me. It's one of her favorite things, because she's a good girl. Yeah, you good girl. There goes the tail. But you might think, that must be a lot of pounds of peppers. The crazy thing about peppers is this will be like 4, maybe 5 pounds, even though it's this much, because they're hollow on the inside. But it just, it's just, well, you get a lot. It's just a lot. It's a lot of peppers. And I'll keep peppering it. Beet. 1 beet. 2 beets. Here, this one. That's a big beet. That's a big beet. Those are some beautiful beets. Now these onions that I was grabbing, they're on the smaller side than what we would typically like. I honestly didn't do these as well as I could have this past year. So I feel like there's a lot of room for improvement, but I pulled them because you can see the greens have died off, or they had like fallen over, which means they're gonna stop putting energy into their bulbs. So we just need to collect them, get most of them out, and we'll end up with more green onions to add to our green onion harvest. And these we can just use as like 1, 2, 3 single onions, which paid for itself because I did this all from seed. All right, let's get this banana rack out of here. I'm a little worried because it's up against the fence, which means like fruit flies and stuff tend to have a better heyday of getting in here. But we'll just do our best to get what we can, since this isn't, well, you know, I told my neighbors they could have them, so I wasn't even planning on getting it. But since they gave it back, we'll get this out. Now, one of the questions that like I keep getting from people, which don't feel bad if you ask me this, it is very confusing online, because I'll say something like, we got 2-3 bunches from 1 banana plant. And people would say, well, I thought banana plants only make 1 bunch of bananas. And that is so confusing, because it's like, yes, but no, but no, but yes. So here's the thing, it's really easy once you understand it, but the way most people present it, it gets confusing. So yes, a banana plant can make many bunches of bananas. It can make more than 1 bunch of bananas in a year. It can make more bunches across many years, but each banana tree only makes 1. So here's the confusion, is that everyone says this is a banana tree. It's not a tree at all. It's a rhizomal type plant, and it's kind of related like in an herb grass kind of world. So you can see this one plant has many trees on it. And so this is where the confusion is. So one plant can make many trees, and each tree only makes one bunch. So this, once we take this bunch off, it's not gonna make anything. It's just gonna start rotting in place. So basically it sends up a shoot, flowers, and then dies, because this is the flower and the fruit. And that's it. So if you get a banana plant, you will make many trees, and each tree will only make one bunch. So that's how you get like 3. So like this plant right now has 2 bunches on it. Up front, they have like 2 or 3 bunches on them. And that's, hopefully that helps with the confusion. Because I know a lot of people are not familiar, like you're familiar with bananas, but you're not familiar with growing bananas. So each year, so this plant we've had in place for, I don't even know how many years. And like stuff like this right here, like a split banana, I'm just gonna chop and drop that. So this one has made, I don't even know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bunches of bananas since we first put it in. So we put this one in, and all the ones you saw up front in the beginning of the video, those were all pups that I took from this plant. So I took little trees and I moved them up there. And so we really only have 3 plants, and they make on average about 100, 200 pounds. Depends on the year, depends on the weather, but in general, that's how much it makes. And so while these are a little bit smaller than your in-store banana, they taste the same. This type does. There's other types that taste different, but we picked it because it tastes the same. And so like each of these bananas will be like, so what we'll do with these is we will let them ripen up out on our patio, and then once they're done getting ripe, you might be like, oh, but then they'll all be ripe all at once. Yes, because we use the majority of our bananas in smoothies, so it doesn't matter to us that they're all kind of ready at the same time. Because then what I do is I peel them, I put them on trays, and I freeze them in the tray, then we bag them up. And the reason we freeze them on a tray first is because otherwise they kind of stick together in the bags, and then Ben's chiseling them out, which is no fun to be doing that in the morning as you're trying to make breakfast. These did not get as big as they could have, but that's okay. You can see how many, because it grew right up against, I really need to take out all these banana plants that are going right up against this fence line, because everything that grows right here tends to get damaged, and we just don't get as much off of them. Okay. And then these like little ones, anything that's like really small tends not to produce. This one probably will, but everything else, this is done. And then later what I'm gonna do is I'll come back through with a machete and we'll take all that out. But not today, because it's hot. It's hot, 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 hot. And I only had time right now to do harvest. So we got these bananas. It looks like we probably got, call it 10 to 15 pounds of bananas. I guess it's the part where I say, wow, look at this unbelievable harvest. But honestly, it's quite believable. We've done a really good job, and if you've been following along with all the tips and ideas, hopefully you're having an amazing, wonderful, epic harvest yourself. Hopefully this has got you inspired to get out in your garden and start doing some of your harvest. And if you're looking for more inspiration, check out this harvest video from last year. And if you want to be able to stay on track like I do, not only with tracking your harvest, but having all the tips to make sure that you can have an unbelievably normal harvest that's this big, go ahead and pick up your Wild Floridian Garden Planner. It tells you what to plant, when to plant it, and tons of tips to keep you on track and create the garden of your dreams in the Sunshine State. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.